It's a little more complicated than I won't explain it right. I know it.
Yeah, it's complex. But we just know how much. Good afternoon, everyone. So we will go over our agenda for Thursday. We have call to order, roll call by Ms. Adams, invocation by Pastor Priest of the Hope and Healing Christian Church, pledge of allegiance by Councilman Kilmurray. Thank you, sir. Acceptance of agenda. Is there any questions on item number 1, the acceptance of the agenda for Thursday?
I'll maybe just mention that item 7 is normally in the consent agenda, but Jessica received it late on Friday, so there wasn't time to post it.
Yeah, it was a last minute item, so instead of reposting and renumbering, it's item number 7. Thank you, ma'am. And then after that, we go to our city manager report, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor McCaw. I do have several things to share this afternoon. In procurement news, we do have a request for proposal out for the Mona Bishop Library Conference Room AV upgrade. A pre-proposal meeting is scheduled for January 22nd, and those proposals are due on February 12th. We also have an RFP out for cancer screenings for firefighters, which is a timely subject. That is grant funded, and that grant was applied for by Battalion Chief Josh Meeker. Those proposals are due February 11th. Under review currently are bids for the CDBG-funded Ramada structure and common area walkways for Catholic Community Services. Those bids were due on January 16th, and 4 were received and are currently under review.
I'm sorry. Is the mic all the way on? I feel like it's not, or maybe it's just me. It's hard.
Sorry, my voice is a little froggy, Mayor Pro Tem.
Sorry.
So I'll speak up. Awarded were on-call professional and civil engineering services. Those were received on December 15th, and the top 3 statements and awards went to Hazen and Sawyer, Humphrey Civil Design, and Wilson Company, and those are pending contracts. And then just an update on a project that I shared last time, the Buffalo Soldier Trail Multi-Use Path is underway with KE&G, and that is expected to finish around May of this year. We received the November sales tax report last week, and while I wouldn't normally say it was good news that it was flat, given the situation with the government shutdown for most of the month, the fact that our sales tax revenues remained flat actually is fairly good news. And we look forward to getting December's, because December is usually much better than the rest of the year, and we anticipate it to be better this year. And that's it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any questions? Discussion items? All right. We'll proceed to our new business item number 3 and staff report. Mr. Prigler.
All right. Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. So these amendments, code amendments, were presented to you on December 11th, 2025. So just a quick summary of these amendments. First, the first code amendment would allow airports by right in the light industrial zoning district. The second amendment revises the definition of community service use to include the term emergency medical service provider. The next amendment eliminates the annual permit certificate for mobile food vendors. And then the final amendment would allow churches within the general commercial zoning district. On December 11th, 2025, the mayor and city council approved a 30-day public comment period for the proposed text amendments. The amendments were placed on the city's Engage website to provide information to the public and to allow for public comments. No comments have been received. Therefore, the code amendments are ready for final adoption on Thursday night. This concludes staff's report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, comments? All right. Thank you, sir. And we'll go to item number 4, Resolution 2026-005. Chief Jones, Deputy Chief Beaver.
Oh, yes. Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council, this is essentially just a re-up of our agreement with Pima Community College. Pima Community College has the ability to offer paramedic training to our paramedic students. Ideally, we send our students to Cochise College. However, in the past and currently, we do have employees that live in Tucson. And so for those employees that live in Tucson, we do offer the opportunity to attend Pima Community College as well. It makes sense for them to since they attend off duty, usually it makes sense for them to do so in Tucson where they live, rather than driving all the way down to attend class. And so this is every 2 years it has to be renewed, and this basically just allows us to send students to them. And the other side, for reciprocal purposes, they also utilize our ambulances to send students to do their clinical ride-along time. So essentially, up in Tucson, they get a lot of paramedic students, so the ambulances up there kind of get student fatigue. And so sometimes what they'll do is have some of their students come down and ride with our paramedics to get their field internship. So it's basically allows us to send students to get their certification, allows them to send students to get their internship on our ambulances. So that's what this agreement allows for.
Excellent. Do we have any in there right now?
We do not. No,
Okay.
the last student we had there graduated about 2 years ago, but we do still keep the agreement live. That way, if we do have a student who lives in Tucson that wants to attend, they do have that option.
Excellent.
And the other, it's the same price as Cochise College, so there's really nothing that it would create any issues for us. Same time length and everything. They do, however, will have some students here in the spring attending with our paramedics on the ambulances, so.
Excellent. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Oh, no, he answered. It was the same time, because I know the local one was shortened a little bit. Of course, the previous year, so Pima is along the line, the same timeline again. with
So,
us.
yeah, Councilman Rodriguez, Pima's always had a shorter program. They just have a higher volume of students.
Okay.
They work with Tucson Fire, Northwest Fire, larger agencies than us. And so they have the ability to shorten up, and they actually take their members offline. And those departments put their members full-time in school. Well, we don't have that ability with our staffing.
Right.
So theirs is shorter, but we are able to work with it when our student is wanting to attend up in Tucson. So Cochise College did adapt and shorten theirs up a little bit too to stay competitive with Pima.
Right.
Because that is a benefit to have a shorter program. So Cochise has adapted, and it is preferred that we send our students to Cochise College. We do push that, but for the safety of the student, our employee who lives in Tucson not having to travel as much, we do allow employees that live in Tucson to go to Pima if that's what they desire.
Yeah, makes more
And
sense.
for the DIAS, that program is about a year long, a year and a half?
The program is approximately a year long in total, yes.
Cool. Any questions, comments? All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
And we go to item number 5, Resolution 2026-006, Staff Report. Mr. Delaney, are you on?
I am, sir. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, happy to be with you. Thank you for allowing me to appear remotely. I plan on seeing you on Thursday. The first resolution before you today from the Sierra Vista IDA relates to a charter school financing in North Carolina. The school's management team, however, is the same one that you have seen before for the American Leadership Academy financing, previously approved, as well as the Wake Preparatory Academy financing, previously approved. Basically, this group knows you and likes you. The financing is to borrow the acquisition price from the school that they're currently leasing and expand the school. The bonds will be unrated, publicly sold by Robert W. Baird, but again, only to qualified institutional investors or accredited investors. The IDA has held a public hearing on this. There were no objections, and there were also, as required by bond counsel, 2 public hearings held in North Carolina, neither of which had objections. Now, just a reminder, out-of-state financings are allowed under the IDA statutes here in Arizona, provided there is a benefit found within the state. And the benefit here is the fee that is received from the Sierra Vista IDA is then applied to both their costs and economic development opportunities within the city. I'm happy to answer questions. I will, of course, remind everyone that revenue bonds of the Sierra Vista IDA are not a pledge or pledge of credit of the IDA or of the city or of the state. Instead, it's the revenues of the borrowing entity that pay that. Again, happy to answer any questions on this financing.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor. Hi, Mr. Solano. This is Ken Kilmurray. So 2 questions are, so we're selling the bonds. What is our direct relationship to it? And if we're not guaranteeing the bonds, How can there be no risk to the city?
Mr. Mayor, members of Mr. Kilkenny, the IDA statutes specifically provide that an IDA is a nonprofit corporation that is not directly tied to the city finances. So it is the only kind of financings that the IDA can issue are what are called revenue bonds. And in this case, it's the revenues of the borrowing entity, not the city or the state or the IDA that are pledged to repay that. The general credit under the IDA statutes, the general credit of the city is not able to be pledged, and the general credit of the Sierra Vista IDA is not able to be pledged. And that is in the offering document as well as the authorizing documents for these bonds. So these are what are called special limited obligations of the Sierra Vista IDA, limited only to these revenues. Does that answer your question?
It doesn't. So what is the city's relationship to that money?
The city has no relationship to the money. What the city is being asked to do is approve the proceedings of the Sierra Vista IDA. They are the issuer of those bonds. So you are the authorizing, what's called the governing body of the city. So if let's spin the worst case scenario. If the bonds were to go into default, then there's no financial obligation for Sierra Vista IDA and no obligation for the city. It's only from the revenues of the borrowing entity. So the city, by the statute, has to approve the issuance of bonds by the Sierra Vista IDA. That's the relationship that occurs. But your revenues are safe. They are not going to be drawn into this.
So what organization is holding the risk?
The entities that hold the risk are the borrowing entity and the bondholders. So the bonds are sold by, in this case, Robert W. Baird, and the bondholders take the risk that they can't repay those bonds. Now, they would also have a deed of trust on the property that's being acquired, as well as, in this case, the school. That's it. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think I understand the question about the risk, so thanks.
So what is our relationship to Sierra Vista IDA? Why do we have oversight over Sierra Vista IDA? Why do we have to approve something that Sierra Vista IDA is doing if we don't incur a risk if they make a loss?
Under the IDA statutes, the governing body, you appoint the members of the Sierra Vista IDA. The IDA can only exist if for incorporated communities. So if there is a Sierra Vista IDA, there could be, as there is a Tucson IDA, a Pima County IDA, and then there's one IDA for the majority of the rest of the state. But in this case, the city of Sierra Vista authorized an IDA to be created years ago.
Did I answer your question there, Brian?
May I just add?
Go ahead. Mhm.
As the liaison for our IDA, like he just said, every IDA has a public oversight component. We are the public oversight for this IDA, and that's just to ensure some kind of democratic accountability. Because there's certain tax breaks that come with these bonds at a federal level.
That's right, and thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Flowers. The city must act as a governmental entity to approve the holding of that public hearing if the bonds are going to be tax exempt. That's what bond counsel requires. But you do not have a financial obligation for these bonds.
So there's just simply a rule that a government organization has to approve the bonds. And that's the only reason we're voting on it?
Yes.
That is correct. And that and the federal tax regulation that Mayor Pro Tem Flowers identified.
And then for the dais concerned, we had to ask Dimitri, why I said Demetria?
We just saw it yesterday, that's why.
Dimitri Simonton to give us just an outlook on their funds, on how.
During the IDA?
Yes, so, and that's gonna come in February. So, Mayor Pro Tem is going, she'll sit in, since she's our representative, she'll sit in on that brief, and then after that, she'll bring it back to the council and he'll present it to us. Any questions on 2026-006? All right, we'll go to 2026-007.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, this is a resolution before you relating to the acquisition of land and development of infrastructure for a master plan community in Texas. Again, you're allowed to go outside of the state as long as there is a benefit to the Sierra Vista IDA determines there is a benefit within the state, and that benefit is the economic development within the city. This financing is taxable. It is different, so there was not a public hearing that needed to be held by the Sierra Vista IDA. Again, going back to that saying, there is no tax requirements related to a taxable financing. The one who is taking the risk on this will be the purchaser of these bonds. They're going to be sold by RBC Capital Markets, the old Rauscher, Dane Rauscher Pierce Refness. And so the bonds will be sold, they anticipate sometime in the next month. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, comments? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I will see you all on Thursday. If there's anything else I can answer, please let me know.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We'll see you on Thursday. Safe travels.
Take care.
We'll go to item number 7, resolution 2026-008. Staff report, Ms. Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. We had one vacancy on the Parks and Recreation Commission, but unfortunately, a recent appointee resigned before swearing in, which left 2 vacancies. We had 2 great folks, Mr. Robert Brooks and Ms. Jennifer Holt. Good order applications for those, and your acceptance of this will give you a full Parks and Recreation Commission. And they also, just as a side note, they also have 2 associate members as well. So very active and engaged group of folks.
Excellent. Any questions, comments?
Thank them both for applying. The Parks and that Parks and Rec Commission normally is one that we don't have problems filling. We don't have a lot of people ready to go. Obviously, for many reasons, we have a lot of people that are active out there and doing things, and so I'm thankful that one's always pretty booked and has somebody ready to go. And also associate members, which are very important. I want everybody to understand what associate members means. You don't have to, you cannot, anybody can come to a commission meeting, right? The importance of commissions are, it's the people, it's the community that wants to come together that has input on something. For instance, this case, it's sports, it's recreation, Parks and Rec. So you can sit in a meeting, even if you're not a voting member, you can still do a call to the public at the end, just like any other meeting. So any commission period, if you're interested or want to get involved, I'd recommend just go sit in and see what they're talking about. And you may have this opportunity like they did to go ahead and apply and be a member. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. That's it for our resolutions. We have call to the public and request of council, and also the request of council and adjournment. For tonight, we have several presentations. Our first presentation is by the Sierra Vista Firefighters Association. And I think Chief Meeker and Mr. Workman. Thank you, sir. Good to
Certainly.
see you.
I'm kind of tall, so.
Oh, you can raise it.
The button
Little
right
button
next
there.
to the microphone toggles it up
A
and
lot
down.
of buttons. I can lean in. Is that okay? Can you hear me okay?
It'll lift the whole podium up for you.
It's less complicated
All
than a
right.
fire.
This might have to get lowered.
Dang,
All right.
Dang.
man.
All right. Mayor, members of council, thank you for letting me speak. I was asked to be here to sort of give the background on firefighter cancer in the fire service in the United States, and how these unfortunate situations are coming up. So my role in this, I'm the battalion chief on A shift, and my area of responsibility is the Health and Safety Committee for Sierra Vista Fire and Medical Services. I chair that committee, and several of our members are behind me as well. So this, my presentation to you is from the perspective of the Health and Safety Committee and to help educate you on cancer in the fire service. So when we talk about cancer in the fire service, it's a cumulative effect. It's exposures over time. It's not one particular fire incident, although that is possible. But for the most of the cases, it's multiple exposures over one's career. 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, and north of that. So chronic exposures over time is what is likely causing cancer in the fire service, okay? So that puts us right now, according to NIOSH, firefighters have a 9% higher chance of getting diagnosed with cancer and a 14% higher chance of dying from cancer. Now, I'll tell you some of these numbers, depending on your source, are a little bit higher, but this is as of today from what NIOSH says. Currently, right now in the United States, the number one cause of line-of-duty deaths is due to job-related cancer. That's new in the last couple of years, definitely in my career. It used to be cardiovascular disease, but that got superseded several years ago by occupational cancer. So it is an issue at the federal level. In recent months, it was acknowledged at the federal level that a presumptive cancer death is considered a line-of-duty death and does give that member and the member's family all the benefits that come with a line-of-duty death. So exposures. It's very easy to say, well, cancer in the fire service comes from fighting fires, right? The smoke. And that's not wrong, right? Where does the smoke come from? A myriad of events. And this might be where you realize, as we peel back the layers, there's a little bit more to it than just the number of house fires or what we see in the media that is going on in our communities. So structure fires certainly are producers of a lot of noxious, bad chemicals. But all smoke in general is cancerous. So we do have our fair share of structure fires in our community. We do have vehicle fires. Engine compartments catch on fire, they smoke, overheat, things like that. Garbage fires, dumpster fires, wintertime, garbage cans out at the street from ashes. They kick off sometimes. Sometimes we'll even get a dump truck or a garbage truck burn once a year or so. And we have to go and deal with that as well. So something almost as innocuous as a kitchen fire can produce a lot of bad chemicals in the smoke. Once the cooking oil, a lot of times it's cooking oil, will ignite and burn. That produces the black carbon smoke. It melts the knobs on the stove. It can get other things burning and things like that that you don't always see in the news. Grassland fires, we get a lot of those. We work automatic aid with Fry Fire District. We do first response to state land, onto state land property for wildland fires where we're out there for hours with really no respiratory protection. So that's an exposure as well. A lot of the homeless encampments this time of year for their heating, they're burning what they can to stay warm, to cook their food. The public sees smoke out in the middle of a field. We have to go out and address it, and we have to put it out. And so there's just little exposures like that. Illegal burns. We have in the city no open burning, but that doesn't mean people don't do it. And same thing, they'll drive by and see some smoke, so we have to go and address that as well. Twice a year, our personnel go through live fire training. And when you do that, you go through multiple evolutions. So multiple drills back to back. So we always have that in the background. And if you're one of our live fire instructors, you're going through with every crew on the department. So you have about 10 times more exposures during the training fires that we do. Overheated appliances. People like to put too much stuff in dryers. It overheats the belts. The belts burn, produce that acrid smell, things like that we deal with quite a bit. It malfunctions to the heating and cooling. Commercial occupancies typically have this. We'll smell something burning. We go on the roof and find something with the HVAC units. Lithium-ion batteries are starting to cook off. You're seeing that in the news quite a bit. We have had several incidents with lithium-ion batteries, and a lot of bad stuff comes out of those. So there's a lot of things that can produce smoke beyond just a house fire or a commercial fire that you'll hear about. So if we take one modern fire today, so if we take a fire in a house and compare it to how it was 50 years ago, it's going to burn a lot differently. It's going to burn a lot faster. It's going to produce a lot more toxic chemicals, and that's because of the fuel loads in our homes, right? Everything we order on Amazon, all the furniture that we buy, is all it's all petroleum-based. So the adhesives, the carpet in here, the paint, the upholstery on the chairs you're sitting in, the computers, your big screen TVs at home, things like that, that all produces a lot of heat very, very fast and releases a lot of chemicals that weren't present 50 years ago. Okay, so we're seeing a lot more toxic things released in the smoke that we go to today. So the exposure levels to us are far higher than they were years ago. Even in my career, I've seen a little bit of a change in this with how fast fires burn and how noxious the smoke is. So it's not common, but one fire can produce a lifetime of exposures, okay? But again, it's more of the cumulative effect. So how does the toxic chemicals get into our bloodstream as firefighters? Well, it's done several ways, okay? Absorption is a big part of it, and that's something we don't always think about. So we wear our bunker gear that has a hood that protects our neck, our ears. We have a mask, hood, and a helmet and gloves. But we have a lot of spaces that are just covered with a single layer of fire protective clothing that gets wet with sweat or hose or water from the hose, and that allows the smoke that's saturated our gear to touch up against our skin. Our skin absorbs a lot of that stuff, and it absorbs it faster when we're sweaty. Our skin dilates open, and a lot of that crud gets into our bloodstream that way. It gets in and around our hood, things like that. So that's one of the ways that it gets into our body. Inhalation, that's kind of an obvious one, right? If we don't have our mask on and we're breathing the smoke, that gets into our lungs and gets into our bloodstream that way. Ingestion, that's kind of weird, right? So we're not in there eating the fire, but when we come out and we need to get a drink of water or a swig of something, it can be on our mouth. We take our bottle with the dirty hands, and the first thing we do is put it into our mouth. Okay, you do that on every fire over your career, that can ingest toxins into your body. Same thing with eating, okay? So there's also cross-contamination. We have those dirty hands, we come out of a fire, and we're sweaty, we touch our nose, we touch our eyes, and things like that. So those are the common routes that we get this toxic stuff into our bloodstream and into our bodies. So again, it's about all exposures, not just the number of fires that we have. So it's often thought that cancer risk goes with the number of calls or fire calls we go with, and that's not always accurate. It's the degree of exposure, the intensity of the exposure per fire, per incident that produces smoke that's going to cause the problem. Can everybody still hear me okay? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Okay, so some of the non-fire exposures that is in our area of work, diesel exhaust. Most of our fleet is diesel. Our ambulances are changing over to gasoline-powered motors, and that's eliminated some of the diesel exhaust. Every day we come on, we have to check all the trucks. We turn them on, we bring them out onto the apron where they're at idle. They get up to temperature, make sure all the systems are working accurately. So there is some exposure to diesel exhaust there. Every call we run on, we have to leave our apparatus running out the street, and we're working, loading patients in the back of the ambulance. Our call load, as you saw last year, all-time high, 30 times a day we're running on calls. So our rigs, we're working in and around these trucks that are producing exhaust. Vehicle accidents, to protect us, we spot our fire apparatus on the roadway to protect from people driving into us. So we're working immediately right by the trucks that are producing exhaust. Now, having said that, a lot of our apparatus, the newer ones, are equipped with DEF, diesel exhaust fluid. Okay, so that does help minimize some of the emissions that come out. Not all of our fleet has DEF. Some of them have Ward filters, filtration systems on them, which help. Now, we have to keep in mind that the DEF systems and the Ward systems are designed really to keep smog out of the atmosphere. They're not really designed to make it less cancerous. So some of the bad stuff's still getting out there through, even though there is DEF present. So our aromatic hydrocarbons, carcinogenic, still there. Benzene, carcinogenic, still in the exhaust, and things like that. So formaldehyde's another one of them. Some of our older apparatus don't have DEF. They just weren't made that way, I think. I don't quote me on it, but it was about 10, 12 years ago that engines had to have the DEF fluid on them. So some of our fleet is older than that. And when our frontline units are out of service, we're running out of the backup trucks that don't have the DEF. Okay, so even when we're not running out of it every day, the backup trucks, we still have to check them. So they're on the apron. But there'll be weeks or sometimes months at a time where we have to run out of the backup trucks that don't have the DEF filtration system in them. Other non-fire exposures, our gear itself. So maybe you've heard of PFAs. It's in the media. It's the forever chemicals, the polyfluoroalkyl substances that are in plastics. They're in kind of in the atmosphere. They're in everything we eat and drink sometimes based on how it's produced, right? If you cook hot plastic, things like that. So they're finding that the very thing that we wear to protect us actually exposes us to a lot of PFAs. So our bunker gear has a high concentration of that and has those forever chemicals. So this is some of the stuff that you'll see that kind of leaches into the groundwater and things like that. So another area is the firefighting foam, the AFFF, aqueous film forming foam. You'll see that on the TV commercials. If you were a firefighter and exposed to firefighting foam, this is the foam that gives that a bad name. It's good stuff. It works very well, but it does contain inordinate amounts of the PFAs in it. So the Navy has been exposed to that firefighting personnel on ships. What this stuff is designed for is liquid fires, your fuels and things like that. We typically use a Class A fuel, so we don't have as much of it now. In my early days, we did play around with AFFF quite a bit, and I'm sure out at the airport they have hundreds of gallons of it for the crash rescue stuff. So that stuff is also attributing to firefighter cancer. Sleep interruption, sleep cycle interruption, when your body's getting woken up when it wants to sleep, that contributes to it as well. Chronic sleep deprivation over a career, also known to contribute to cancer. High stress levels, the cortisol in itself is carcinogenic in our body. It's not good for us. And by design, or not by design, but our job inherently is a stressful job. And sometimes that leads to unhealthy coping mechanisms in our personnel. We're not immune, we're people too. So that can contribute. So all of these, although seem minor, if you look at it over a 30-year career, there's just multiple exposures, sometimes big, sometimes small, but they all can contribute to job-related cancer. So I'd like to put into context how a same house fire in a bigger city versus a smaller city might differ on the level of exposures. So if we take a house fire in a bigger city, inherently there's going to be more resources that can go to that house fire, okay? And by default, that means more personnel. So a lot of times these personnel will go in and do one work cycle. They'll work with one bottle on their back. When that bottle's empty, they come out, they get cleaned up, and they're released from the scene because there's a line of trucks down the road. So they might have more people exposed on a much smaller level per incident. Okay, so a smaller department, everybody goes. If there's a house fire in Sierra Vista, all the stations are going to go, and we're going to be working. We'll be the only ones on scene working until that incident is mitigated. So that one work cycle, when that bottle is done, we come back out, we get the bottle swapped, and we go back, and we keep doing that until the scene is totally stabilized. So by default, we might have a little bit more and longer exposure on the same incident, whereas a bigger city might have more people exposed, but on a much shorter level. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So yeah, as little as 15 minutes maybe in a bigger city per exposure. For us, average house fire, it's going to be several hours, 1 to 2 hours. And then even longer if we have to stay and do the investigation, or if Fire Marshal Foster is not available to do the investigation. So Our turnout gear extends the exposure. So we go into the smoke charge environment and all the smoke toxins get absorbed into the material itself. We come back out, naturally it's going to smell, right? So it off-gasses for several days. So it's only going to off-gas until we can get it laundered. We try to get it laundered as soon as we can, but sometimes we can't get it laundered right away. So one incident could cause several days worth of exposure. So we've worked to mitigate that, but that still is an issue as well. So all doom and gloom, but let me tell you, we've improved light years, at least in my career, and I'm very proud of these things. And this isn't all inclusive. So if anything, if I missed, let me know. So the big thing in the United States Fire Service is we've recognized that this is a problem. There's been a sharp uptick in recent years of firefighter cancers, and we're like, wait a minute, what's going on? And we took a hard look inward and found some things. So educating our personnel, conferences, educating decision makers, policy makers such as yourself is very beneficial. We're on air on a fire scene from beginning to end. Okay, and that is something that's changed about halfway through my career. And what that means is in the old days, I'll call it the old days, we would wear our air packs, we would go in and we would knock down the fire, make sure all the flame is out, and now it's just smoldering and we have to dig through it. That's the point where our air packs would come off. Okay, foolish as it is today to say, but that was the mentality, and that's industry-wide how we used to do business. You would just knock the fire out, take your gear off, you can work longer, you have more movement. Yeah, your eyes are burning. Yeah, you got black snot coming out of your nose. That just means you were doing it right. So that stopped for our department probably 15, 20 years ago. So it's kind of, it's sad to say, but I'm proud of where we are at now. We are on our air all the way until the very end. And to Chief Foster's credit, when he goes in to do an investigation, he's got a particulate mask on his face. That's something new with our fire investigators as well. They used to go in and breathe all that nasty stuff. So before we come home, we do on-scene decontamination. We have these really cool nozzles that attach to our truck that kind of turns it into a human car wash. So we just get hosed down top to bottom and get all the crud off of us. We do what's called swishing and spitting before we drink. So we take our bottle, we take a mouthful, we swish it around, we spit it out to clear out any carcinogens in our mouth that are on our lips, on the bottle, things like that. We use the fire wipes, which are baby wipes, immediately to get the stuff off of our necks. The gear that I was telling you about after it's been deconned still is saturated with toxic chemicals. We put that, bundle that up on scene, and it goes in an outside compartment or into a big garbage bag and doesn't travel back to the station with us in the same compartment that we're in. Okay, so that's a big thing as well. When we get back to the station, we shower within the hour. So we get the truck back in service, and then we're going in and we're taking a shower as hot as we can to dilate our skin to help flush out anything that is on our skin as well. Okay, exposure tracking. Captain Workman has done a great job getting us an app on our phone that any incident that we go on that produces smoke, we do an exposure track. We input that. So why that's important? With his permission, Sean, who's a member of our department, had renal cell carcinoma surgery on Friday. 17 years on the job, 170 documented exposures that he can come up with in his career, and he thinks that's the low side. He thinks it's probably 180 to 190 because there are several incidents that he knows are not accounted for in his exposures. So. Yeah, so that's been very valuable, the exposure tracking piece. And I'll tell you, in recent months, we're at 100% compliance on making sure everything's tracked for us. The DEF systems on apparatus, that's a huge leaps and bounds, and that's a credit to our fleet department. They do a great job making sure we have all that stuff. It's not all inclusive, as we know. There's still some stuff that gets through, but it is light years of how it used to be when it was just the old black chugging diesel smell. So that's good. We don't allow bunker gear inside the living quarters of the fire stations. It's in the apparatus bay or outside, that's it. Even if it's clean, it's not coming in the station. Okay, and we've held a pretty good standard with that as well. Years ago, we used to wear it anywhere we wanted. We would go on ambulance calls into Mrs. Smith's living room with dirty bunker pants on because we thought it was cool. And we're firemen, this is what we do. And that's, again, something that's gone away. Thank goodness. We have gear washers at all of our fire stations. We didn't used to have them at all. The thought process when I started was that if you wash your gear, it voids the warranty. So we would never do it. So we would hose it down, maybe knock some of the stuff off. But man, that black helmet was sure cool. And if it smelled like you had a fire, that means, man, you know, you had a fire, right? So some of the foolish things that we did back then. So now we have a gear washer at all of our fire stations. So we come back, we can get our gear in the washer, and we have a second set to get into. So that's huge. Not every department, and I'll tell you, probably we're one, if not maybe two, in Cochise County that have two sets of gear. So we're very blessed to have that for that exact reason. We send it off once a year to get tested and make sure it's good to go. But also when we come back from fire, we have a clean set we can put on. So that's huge. Nutrition, our nutrition has gotten a lot better at the fire station and the firehouse culture. Health-seeking behavior is always good. And we're educating our personnel. The personnel that we hire now, the new guys coming in, they're getting this right up front, where I wish I had that when I started, because some of the practices that we do today were definitely not in practice back then. Our fire station alerting systems, they try to help with the sleep part of it. So they only wake up the unit that's going to be getting a call. They don't wake up everybody in that station. As little as it sounds, if you don't have to wake up an extra 2 or 3 times in the night, that's good. That's a win, right? We have that through the county, and that's wonderful. They wake us up with ramping tones so they don't startle us. We don't have that jarred wake up and the dump of stress chemicals as well. And then also the last couple of years through the city's funding, we've been able to send personnel up to Vincier Cancer Center in Scottsdale. They have a public safety cancer screening program that is profound. One of the leaders in the United States. So about half of 14 of us have been up there based on years of service and to do some preliminary screening. These screenings is what caught the cancer that Sean had. So that's a blessing in itself. So we did receive the grant, so now the rest of our department and the original 14 will be able to go back and get even further in-depth screening. And this is just sort of brought to light the profound need that we need to have as a city and as a department to have policy procedure in place for to deal with these diagnoses when they come. Key takeaways at the end, wrapping it up. Firefighter cancer is exposure driven, not just fire count driven. The risk builds over one's career. The department size of call it doesn't typically matter, as we've talked about. We've made leaps and bounds in recent years, which I'm very appreciative of, but we still have a little bit of work to do. So that's it for my side of it. The cancer and the fire service. Happy to address any questions that you may have on this part of it.
What was the name of the cancer center in Scottsdale where we're going now?
It's Vincier Cancer Center.
Is it tied to Mayo, or is it, because I know Mayo's in Scottsdale? No, it's its own.
Yeah, it's its own standalone.
It's a premier cancer center.
Yep.
And are they doing any other screenings for, like the presumptive cancer screenings for firefighters anywhere else in Arizona, or is it just somewhere that we've chosen to use?
Well, we chose to use it because everybody else was. Short answer.
So they're doing it for other firefighters in Arizona?
They're doing it for just about everybody. Okay. They're kind of the leader of it. Tucson tries to use Vincier, City of Tucson. They piecemeal some of the screenings, but the Vincier is kind of a one-stop shop. They were the first to the game, and they've established it. Now, we're not married to them. We're out to bid on the grant piece. So we are going to be getting bids from other providers that can do similar
Did you say
screenings.
we do have a grant now to finish with the rest of the firefighters?
We just got it, and it has to go out to bid, and we're in that bid period. It closes
Okay.
on February 12th.
Okay.
So, yes.
Yes, sir.
No question. I appreciate the awesome rundown. I mean, probably any questions you ever had, you probably knocked it out here. I even had questions here, so thanks for covering that. Just to point out a few things, and then a question at the end here. So yeah, AFF, the foam, obviously that's a product from everywhere. That was sold as like it's super safe, you can drink
Right.
it, right? And,
Oh, yeah.
And that was a big lie, right? From 3M, I believe, is who came in that initially. So unfortunately, everybody's paying for that now. The ramping tones, that's a recent change in previous years in our city. And now some of you guys and girls that have been here for a while, I'm sure, can you feel the difference? I mean, obviously the difference is from what it was before to now. And are you seeing that? I mean, obviously you guys deal with it every day.
Right.
In the past few years, is that really something that you feel is good? Is it good enough? Is there something out there that's better?
I don't know if there'd be anything better. The times I get up, I know it's a big difference, but these guys get up every night, all night. I'm a battalion chief, so only something big gets me up, so I'll defer to them.
I would say it helps a lot. When I first started, we woke up both stations. Every call, no matter where it was in the city, and one station would respond, the other one wouldn't. So now it's only one unit or 2 units, and everybody else gets to stay in bed.
Good.
I would say it works really well. It's been a
Yeah.
blessing.
You ready for the next call? And I know a lot of that comes from a culture change too, so I appreciate the leadership kind of looking at it. I was like, no, if we're up, we're all up. You know, that's like the old school mentality thinking.
Well, we were bound by the technology at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then obviously that's a good point to point out that small cities get more exposure versus bigger cities, and I like how you pointed that out because there was with the bottle theory. Yeah, there's nowhere people to go in. It's the same people are going to go right back
Exactly.
to get a new bottle.
Yep.
I've gone by the station and seen guys coming back from like even training. And so I had a question. This is about EMS. So the EMS guys are out there. They also decon as well when they get back. Is that part of the process? Even though
If
they're
they've
not?
been exposed,
Okay.
sure. Yeah, we will. They don't wear the same protective gear on a fire incident. They're typically, if they're EMS only, they're going to be outside of the hazard zone.
Okay.
But, you know, there is a chance that they could be exposed passively to that. But yeah, ideally they should shower as well.
And on EMS, how about firefighters that are riding the box that are on the EMS that day? Is there still bunker gear on those EMSs or anything like that?
Yeah,
available?
if they're firefighters on a medic unit, they'll have their gear with them, and a lot of times we'll tuck that medic unit in with an engine or ladder company to go in and fight fire. So they'll get the same exposure as the guys on the engine would.
And they'll just decon before they get back in the box. Okay.
Yes.
And then obviously the preventive checks are huge. Obviously you mentioned, Sean Mott. Thankfully, this is obviously a testament to why these are important.
Yes.
Who knows what would happen if you didn't have this and you weren't going? And again, that's another culture change. So I appreciate you guys pushing that and tracking that, because like I said, how
Yes.
we see that in other departments, people that have been a whole service of fire, and all of a sudden they get it, it's too late.
Right.
So thankfully, I hope that's not the case, and I hope it's caught enough early to where he can getting taken care of. And so obviously there's somebody tracking. Is it somebody, the same person tracks like who's gotten tested and who hasn't yet for the okay?
Yep.
And you're considered was it the health and safety? I don't want to mess up the title that you do for all.
Yeah,
this
the
information.
health and safety committee.
Okay.
Correct.
Again,
Yes.
another culture change that I really like and I really appreciate, because that was not how it was before. So thank you for that. And then when it comes to presumptive cancers, I mean, just a thought for everyone. I mean, obviously this is a great presentation about the fire, but I'd imagine, right? PD has things, the yard, maybe wastewater people or with
Yep.
some harsh chemicals. So, doing this as a baseline, I could see where other departments in our city could say, hey, look, we deal with that too, right? So when it comes to presumptive cancers, is there anything out there, and you may not know, but for them to work as well to get covered for this on the presumptive cancer side of things? I'm sure other cities are probably doing that too, because they're noticing that trend.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I can't speak to the actual numbers of it, other than just anecdotal that I think that there's a higher volume of firefighters that triggered Vince Sears Center in Scottsdale saying, wait a minute, we're getting a lot of firefighters coming in very young with really weird cancers, what's going on? And so she started a study,
Right.
and that's kind of blown open the doors of the whole thing. So wastewater, all those things, the mechanics at the yard, I'm sure they have exposures as well.
Yeah.
They just might not, within their career field, have enough numbers to determine if there's a trend or not.
Yeah, and I'd imagine like the BC and the fire guys, the PD guys that get there first, a lot of times they don't have to put on gear. They just
Right.
go and they're exposed to all those toxic chemicals that are coming out of that house.
Yes.
When they're just trying to save someone's life before everybody else gets there with the gear on. So that kind of worries me too on that side of who's getting exposed without any protection.
Correct.
And I hope
Yep.
that's being tracked somewhere. Thank you.
Hold up for a second. Come in. Could you see, there's a lady standing out here. She's waving at me.
Oh.
That's the mother of Officer. Who's
That's his mom.
Yes,
And is there
Mom.
somewhere we can go
Okay,
to
got
see
it.
the list of presumptive cancers for this?
Yeah, in fact, Captain Workman's going to go over that on his,
Oh, okay.
as part of
All
it,
right, very
what they
good.
are, yeah. Absolutely, so.
Cool. All right. Sorry about that.
No, you're good, Mayor, thank you.
Yeah, I had one question.
Yes, sir.
Does the EMTs have access to the exposure tracker app?
Yes, everybody, all our personnel have that, because it doesn't track just fire exposures. There's also blood splashes, traumatic calls that are horrific that can cause a PTSD type of response, bullying. There's all different kinds of exposures that this app, and it's not that anything we made up. It's a recognized app that generates data on the national level. So
okay.
all part of it. So yes.
Yes, sir. Oh, okay. Yes, ma'am.
How often are you guys getting tested?
So that's a good question. Every year we have what's called an NFPA 1582 physical, and that's just a very robust physical, like you would go to with your doctor. They check for certain cancers there, okay? But the cancer screening that we've been doing up in Scottsdale, we're just in the infancy part of it. The last 2 budget years, with actually the one that we're in now, we've been able to send people up one time. So they're really good at clustering their screening, and they've prioritized it because we haven't received all the screening that's available, just like the most bang for our buck type of thing. So what we've done is we send our personnel up in the morning, and they get some imaging done. It's a whole body MRI. And then we go to lunch, they come in, they go over our whole body MRI results. And that's catching a lot in Arizona and in the fire service, that alone, the whole body MRI. They do urology exam for males over 40. They do dermatology on all personnel. They do a blood test, and we're part of a study as well that's a liquid biopsy type of screening that the blood work can check for over 30 different kinds of cancers as well. So we're part of that. So that's kind of that's that one day. When we go back up with the funding that's available for the grant, we're going to be receiving low-dose lung CTs as well, and maybe a recheck of some of the procedures that they've done for us before. So the short answer is it's going to depend, hopefully once a year, but once we make it through that phase, it's going to depend on the individual. I might need to be rescreened every 2 years, somebody else maybe every 5. Colonoscopy type of stuff and screening, mammography for female firefighters, as well as all part of it. And a lot of the stuff exists already. It's just not paid for by insurance because we're under the age where insurance would say, okay, 50 and above, you should get a colonoscopy. But we're getting firefighters at 32 years old with stage 3, stage 4 colon cancer. So, yeah.
Next question. So
Yes,
what's
ma'am.
stopping you guys from doing it annually? Is it because of the grant, or because we don't have the funding to do that annually?
It's been funding
Okay.
up to this point, but the grant will hopefully address that. And then the part of the agreement with the grant is that we have to develop our own internal procedure to take over the cancer prevention and get that added onto the city's insurance. So then it'll probably be on an annual basis, at least to be screened. And then if they say you're good for 2 years, then it'll be every 2 years for that one individual. So it'll be a lot more regular, but I couldn't tell you an exact time frame. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. it
Okay.
does. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You brought up something with the female firefighters, so that's
Yes.
the testing. Obviously, just is that obviously a different test? Is it more geared now? Is it a different option? Is there more data that says, hey, we should be testing female firefighters? Obviously, there are going to be different kinds of cancers between male and female firefighters.
Yes, I don't know the numbers, but there are the rates of breast cancer in female firefighters is higher than the general population.
Okay.
Yep.
And then the laundry machines, the gear washers, are those any issues with those? Are those working out? Or is that, I know maybe 5 or 6 years ago, it was like the smoke ejector was like a thought at the time, and those were disapproved at that time. But for the bays and things like that, and when it comes to like the bays right now, when you talk about you're working on the trucks, doing the truck checks every morning, what more can be done there, or how is that situation like now?
So that's a good point, and I overlooked that. Our stations are equipped with a smoke ejection system, kind of a negative pressure fan,
Right.
if you will. We don't have the hoses that plug on to the exhaust, but they do run a negative pressure and suck the exhaust out of the bays there. The washer extractors are working out. We had one for years at one station, and we had to shuttle gear in people's vehicles or in department vehicles over to that one station. But now every station has that. Station 4, I don't believe, has one, but it's not equipped with fire personnel at this point. So that'd be something we need to look at when that does get staffed.
Okay.
So, but yes, that's a big difference. Yes.
This was a great proposal. You guys did not miss anything. I actually took time and actually read and actually wrote some notes, and I had questions.
Good.
Which I
Wonderful.
hit you with 3 questions, but you kind of answered those questions while you were speaking.
Okay.
But great job on putting it together. You guys covered Arizona law. You also covered the firefighters as well, and also the city. So great job to everyone that actually put it together. But I still want to go back to that annually. I think it's kind of like, with women, we do a mammogram, right? It's required that we do it every year. I think that would actually help. I don't know how we could incorporate that to make that happen. I think that would be helpful because the fact with cancer, the sooner you catch it, the better, correct? And everyone's body is different. So once that's something I think we should maybe want to look into. I don't know how we can make that happen. If we can make that happen, I just think it will help out a lot.
No,
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Jackson, thank you. So what we started with 2 years ago was initial screenings for our most high-risk firefighters. Then Battalion Chief Meeker applied for this grant, and it's $187,000. So that will take care of screening everyone in the fire service.
Question. So you said something. You said you guys do the more high-risk firefighters. How is that determined? Who's higher and who's not?
I'll tell you.
Sorry. I'm
Yeah,
trying
and
to
then-
understand everything here.
Yeah, it was based on the number of dollars we had in that account at the time. I put into the health and safety budget 2 budget cycles ago enough to do a liquid biopsy test on all of our fire personnel. That math came up to about $20,000. We got it. The council approved it. It was in the budget. Fantastic. So I reached out to who can do this test. I got linked up with Vincier Cancer Center at a conference I was at. And I said, hey, look, we've got $20,000 to do this liquid biopsy test. I want to get every one of our personnel tested. And she said, well, if you have $20,000, that's not the best way to use it. We're catching most cancers with the whole body MRI, and it's with guys that have been in the department greater than X amount of years. So send me a list of your most senior employees, and we're going to make that $20,000 work. So that only got 7 firefighters, and that was last budget year. So that's where the first 7 went. We were able to keep the $20,000 in a budget for this current year. We sent the next 7. That's where Sean listed in there, and he showed up positive on that. So now that we've got this grant, we can go back to them and say, okay, let's fill in the holes. And what do you recommend for the personnel that have already been screened? Do you want to see us every year? Do you want to see us every other year? And I would leave it up to the doctors up there on when they would want to screen us all. So,
Because I think I'm just looking at more to how can we avoid it. Does that make sense?
So after we do the screening for everyone, our fire staff is currently working with HR to determine what the best schedule is moving forward. So then we will instruct our insurance carrier to cover that schedule going forward, and not knowing what the schedule might turn out to be. We want everybody every year, or it might be this is our recommendation. As Chief Meeker said, these folks every 5 years, these folks every 2 years, these folks every year. So we're waiting to see what the recommendation is, and then we'll instruct our insurance carrier to cover it.
Okay, thank you, Victoria.
What's the breakdown for per person for the test?
we can't say because it's going to be dependent on their exposures, their age. So they might say, okay, you get this test and you get those 5 tests.
Okay.
So it's not the same per person.
Okay. Got it. Yes, sir.
Hey, thanks, Mr. Mayor. So great to see a good turnout for everybody for this meeting. And one of the reasons I didn't want to shortchange this briefing by combining it with Kenny's briefing at the next council meeting. There's a lot of questions. It's very complex. They did a very good job, and I think we still have another briefing.
Yes.
Correct, Captain Workman? Okay. One thing I wanted to ask Kenny, based on Mark's question about, you know what, we have other people within the city who face some of these same challenges. Can you maybe add it to your briefing for next week? Hey, this is something that we need to look at. for potential,
I think it's in there.
potential action.
It's already in
Yeah. it's in
No, for other parts of the city. I don't know if it's already been added. Yeah, thank you, Kenny. And then for Chief Meeker,
Yes.
that was a great briefing, very.
It was.
Just a second,
Thank you.
my phone. Okay, so the number of deaf versus non-deaf vehicles.
Yes.
Is that just backup vehicles, or is that some of our mainline vehicles or apparatus?
The deaf is in most of our, 2 out of our frontline units. One of our backup units has deaf. We have about 8 that have the ward filtration system, and we have, I think, 2 that do not have anything on them due to their age. Those are the ones that we use as backup if we have to. So most of our fleet is got some either deaf or the ward filtration system, which is better, right? It's less dirty. Our ambulances, we're about half of them are diesel, half of them are gas, and I think only 2 of our ambulances don't have the deaf, and one of them is going to be retired this year. So I think we're in a good place there. We can always do better, you know. And all the new apparatus. We have 2 new pumpers coming. They're going to be for sure outfitted with the new emission standards on them. It's just the older ones that don't.
Is there anything that we're doing that rotates firefighters and paramedics through the various stations, or are some stations more exposed to the hazards than other stations?
Sure, fair question. I don't think that there's one of our stations that has more. There's definitely more calls out of some of the stations, and so they're getting on the trucks a little bit more. But as far as the filtration system or the exhaust system in the bays, that's present on all of them. The apparatus are spread out enough that they have the DEF or the ward system on those as well. So the rotation piece, I don't think we would see any benefit from doing that.
Right.
On the work on a fire scene, we rotate personnel through as well, so that they're, you know, we're trying to limit exposures the best we can, but we can only do so much. So, yeah.
Okay. Yes,
I
ma'am.
have a comment. Yeah, I appreciate your presentation. I really like how you present the content. It's really easy to follow and understand.
you.
I appreciated understanding how layered this is, and to see how things have changed for the negative over the years, as far as how people live their lifestyles and the things that we own. And I also appreciated to hear about the improvements that the department has made as well. So thank you.
Yeah, both as a department and as a culture too. Yeah, we don't do things the way we used to. So, thank goodness.
Thanks so much, Chief.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes, sir. You got another one?
Yeah, I had one more. So a couple times throughout the briefing, you say, hey, we're working toward this. We're working toward mitigation. Is there any, so this is a 2-part question. The mitigations that we're not actually getting, we're not actually doing, and we're not actually completing, is there anything that's unfunded, any mitigation efforts that are being unfunded, and how can we go about getting that into the budget cycle from your perspective or the chief's perspective?
I feel like I'd be missing an opportunity here if I don't address that.
So let's not talk about that one thing.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later. But is that the?
I think we're sitting really good, but you can't ever get the exposures down to 0. It's just inherent.
Yeah.
It's just what we do. Can we do better? Absolutely. We've been very well supported along the way when we see something that, hey, this is going to help us. We might not get it right away, but you know, we do end up getting a lot of the stuff that we ask for that helps with firefighter safety. So,
Okay. You think we're having a good, is HR the good conduit for the dialogue right now on bringing those mitigation factors, or do we need to bring it at a different level within?
sure. From my perspective, from the Health and Safety Committee, I follow my chain, and that's been effective. But the association probably, you know, maybe has a different perspective on that, and they can address that.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you,
For me?
Chief Meeker.
Thanks,
Yes.
Chief.
Yes, sir. Mr. Work.
We'll move this thing back down. Just keep it going. All right. Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you for having us today. Thank you, Chief Meeker, for that presentation. That was awesome. Honestly, half the questions that already got answered, so this presentation will be short and kind of to the point of what we're asking for in a policy here. A little background on myself. I've been with our department for over 17 years now. I'm also on our health and safety committee. And now I'm currently the president of our Professional Firefighters of Service of the Local 4492. So what all this has kind of brought to light is the need for a presumptive cancer policy. Okay, and so Chief Meeker already touched on this. You know, over the past 2 years, we've sent 14 firefighters, which has led to now presumptive cancer diagnosis within our department. So it became personal. It's no longer cancer, is no longer numbers. Now it's one of us. They have families, and within a blink of an eye, their life got turned upside down. They're worried about their prognosis. They're worried about their family. They're worried about finances. And the last thing we need to be doing is fighting workers' comp to get a claim approved for something that's already been announced as presumptive, okay? So this has been a learning process for us all, and it brings to light the need for this policy. So as I said, you know, these claims are getting denied. It's leading to lengthy, unnecessary legal battles. It's wasting time, money, resources. So fortunately and unfortunately, this has brought legislation at the national and state level. So in 2021, this was passed, ARS 23-90109. And as you can see, it lists different cancers that if a firefighter is diagnosed with them, they are presumed to be an occupational disease. And this is based on research, not only state level, national level. This is very important stuff. So it's been proven that these are a problem and they are caused by our job. So and the state law goes further to state that, you know, payers shall accept those claims for any firefighter diagnosed with any of those cancers. I set aside for you guys a pamphlet. I don't know if you have that, but it kind of lines it out too. There are some parameters, right? So the firefighter or fire inspector has had a clean bill of health at the time of their hire. They have to have at least 5 years on the job. Okay, and then the last one, they must be 65 or younger, and the cancer diagnosis cannot be more than 15 years past employment. Okay, so those are kind of the stipulations behind the law as well. So it's not just anybody. What we've also learned is that you know, we participate as a city in the Firefighter Cancer Reimbursement Fund. Okay, so this is through the ICA, the Industrial Commission of Arizona. It's outlined in the ARS statute as well, and it includes compensation for these things right here. Partial disability, total disability, medical, hospital benefits, and death benefits. So I just came back from a health and safety conference in Scottsdale, and many cities are moving to a policy directing the approval of presumptive cancer claims like we're asking for. And they've been very successful in recouping costs through this ICA Cancer Reimbursement Fund if they incurred cost associated with accepting those claims.
Sir.
Okay. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a policy in support of approving these claims. Something that says that, you know, if workers' comp does deny our claim, that we're going to step in as a city and take care of our firefighters because we know it's presumptive, it's based on research, there's an ARS statute behind it. So that's what we're asking for. And we've been very fortunate working together with our administration, with city management and HR over the last month that we are moving forward developing a policy and an SOP. And the SOP is super important too because that allows us to take a structured approach to, you know, hey, now we're not caught off guard, we've been there. Cancer diagnosis, this is how we're going to approach it. So that's what we're looking for. That's why I'm here today. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have. And once again, like I cannot overstate our appreciation of support to this point. You know, the funding to send us to Vincere has obviously come to fruition and it's an amazing thing, right? It saved probably Sean's life. It saved the city probably a ton of money in, you know, late stage cancer treatment. It's just, you just can't overstate the benefit of that. So we are appreciative, and I look forward to developing an awesome policy. And I know Kenny's planning on presenting that within a couple weeks. So she'll be prepared for that. And Yeah, like I said, I'm happy to answer any questions I can on that.
Thank you there. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for that presentation and for the last presentation. Thank you. This question's actually for Victoria. Where are we on the policy with Kenny?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem Flowers. So, and let me say first, our priority in our meeting, both mine and Chuck's not here, but we have had a number of conversations about this, so I know I can speak for him on this. But our priority is looking out for our employees, and no one wants to add an additional burden to somebody who's dealing with something as terrible as a cancer diagnosis. So our staff's been working with the firefighters on an SOP, sitting down with Sean first to walk through exactly what he's experienced, so every step of the way, and if he had any issues along the way, how we can mitigate those issues. Our plan is to ensure that employees are covered in the event of a workers' comp denial. So what that entails to figure out what to do then is, I know that Ms. Downing has meetings set up with our workers' comp carrier. We also have to talk to our benefits administrator and find out, in the event that happens, who takes on the coverage. And so if we need to instruct our benefits administrator to pick it up, then we would be covering a cancer for any employee covered by our insurance in any case. So that may end up being part of the SOP. It may end up being part of the admin directive. It may need something like addition to our personnel rules. So that's the piece we're figuring out and what we hope to have in place by the time Kenny presents in February.
Okay, thank you.
Quick question. The workers' comp insurance denials, are they denying because, is this a new law in Arizona? Is it so new that the workers' comp is not familiar with it? What's the issue there? Because it's pretty straightforward. Presumptive cancers, they should be approving this almost as if, just a stamp of approval. What's the issue?
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Myers, I would think that with a presumptive cancer, they would cover it automatically, but they're not, and I don't know the reasons. I don't know if Kenny does. Yeah, of course, if Kenny can speak to that.
Well, it's my understanding that it may be a new ARS, that it's something new, and maybe they don't understand it.
It was adopted in 2021 or passed by the state legislature in 2021.
Kind of new.
I would think that was
Okay.
enough time,
I'm
but
sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Kenny. I'm
Kenny.
sorry.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. What we've done is taken the proactive approach. So we know that it's in Arizona statutes that it's presumptive. So when we get an issue or an employee who says they've been diagnosed with cancer, specifically the firefighter, we tell them, this is the step. First, you need to call Triage Now, which documents it as a workplace injury, because that's what it is. And then we call our workers' comp company, immediately Travelers, and tell them this is a presumptive firefighter cancer claim. So, and you have to approve it. So there's no question for us in terms of why they deny it, because they will. If HR does their job and they tell the carrier, the workers' compensation carrier, that it is a presumptive firefighter claim, they have to approve it. So our SOP will hopefully put all of those instructions, because as the years go by, we may be having this conversation again about another firefighter, and we want to make sure all the policies and procedures are in place so that they have a smooth process. They never get denied. They don't initiate medical procedures before they contact HR, so we give them instructions on how to do it the correct way, because problems happen when you do things out of order. So that's what we're
in our case,
working on.
we're using Travelers. If Travelers approves a claim and the employee incurs some cost between diagnosis and getting the approval, is there a retroactive payment of cost for that period?
The way the workers' compensation works, if once the employee applies for workers' compensation, they get a workers' comp claim number. It's not, their workers' compensation claim hasn't been approved yet, but they get a number. If they get an official number, they should be able to go to any of the medical providers or procedures with that workers' comp claim number and never have to pay anything.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if for some reason the employee had to pay something, That's what we're working on the SOP for. If this happens, what do we do? You know, does the city pay for it? Do we reimburse it back? Do we pay for it directly from a P card? Do we contact our benefits administrator? There's options we have to go through and analyze, and then we'll determine. But the employee will always be made whole regardless, whatever method we find.
I don't want to name names in the open or anything like that, but with respect to our city, up to this point, with regard to presumptive cancers and our insurance, how many times has an employee filed for a presumptive cancer with Travelers and been denied?
I don't have that.
Do we?
I guess I'm trying to figure out why we're denying it and why are they paying out of pocket. So obviously there's a gap there somewhere. So I'm hoping the SOP will actually cover all the gaps, right, that we're working on. Where they don't have to pay.
That's the
Well,
point.
okay, that's
what
the
we're trying to
idea,
do.
right?
Yes,
Okay, we're
that's
gonna
the
get a
goal.
copy of that, right, before we go
Yes.
for, okay.
Did Travelers
Okay.
just deny it? I mean, I'm looking at Chris back there, 'cause he's raising his hand.
Mr. Clausen? Yeah, you, most definitely. Chris Clausen, our past president.
Yes,
Mayor
sir.
and council, thanks for having me up. So I'll speak from personal experience. I got skin cancer, and I tracked it back, I could say, to a fire in April. And I had probably like the tip of your pinky finger taken off the tip of my nose, 10 stitches. And it didn't dawn on me until I went to the dermatologist that this is a presumptive cancer for firefighters. And I was like, the bell rang, because we've never had it here in this firefighter that I know of submit for a workers' comp presumptive cancer. I think I might have been the first one. But I was denied by Travelers Insurance, even though I submitted it, all the paperwork, and I just had so I'm denied by Travelers. And they said their own independent medical examiner said, no, you didn't get it from fighting fire. Even though I met all the criteria within the statute, they still denied me. So I had to go through a hearing, just had the hearing last week with the Industrial Commission, and it looks like I should be accepted, but still, I meet all the requirements within the statute for that, and I was denied by our own workers' comp insurance. Why? Because their independent medical examiner said I didn't get it during my firefighting career. That was what I was told. So that's where I'm at with mine.
But doesn't your health coverage just cover it?
So initially,
We have pretty
yes,
good
it
health
did,
coverage with the
because
city.
this is so new to us, it was new to me. I knew of presumptive cancer for firefighters and everybody, but the bell never rang for me on this is I should go through, like Kenny said, the process, because we really don't have a process for it. We're working on that now.
When you say you don't have a process, you mean an SOP?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. I've used Triage Now and submitted workers, injuries at work and all this, that, and the other, but it didn't dawn on me, and I'll take onus on that I didn't, do the traditional path through our Triage Now and a job place injury. Didn't really seem like it was to me until I was at the dermatologist and they were cutting the tip of my nose off, and missed 3 days of work. And so our own Blue Cross Blue Shield Maribel covered the initial job the dermatologist did. So in the long term, if I get this accepted, I think Travelers should reimburse Maribel. I don't know. I'm not an HR or insurance specialist, so I don't know how that all works. But yeah, I've been denied, and I met all the requirements. So I think this is kind of where the birth of this SOP or policy needs to be put in place. And then just happened to be with Captain Mott. We did our due diligence in the process of getting screened and found his cancer. So we're doing the right thing right now. But yeah.
Yeah, yes, sir.
I just had Kenny brought something up. I mean, obviously we had a different HR. This was 2 years ago. How many years ago was this when you started doing this process?
What process?
That you're going through right now.
This
when it was denied
in 2025.
Okay, because like I think Kenny mentioned they can direct the third party, right, to say, hey, you will cover this, right? And so that wasn't done then, or but we know we should have done that now. Is that
I can't speak for HR and what
Okay.
they can direct or tell what people do. I just tell you what my experience was or is.
Okay. right? It sounds like from what she said, I understand that that's the process now that we know, hey, we can direct, or the HR can direct the third-party insurance, like, cover this now, right? I guess that's in the clause somewhere, I would assume, right? In the insurance clause, it says, hey, your HR can do this. So why they wouldn't at that time, I don't know, but, because now it seems like, oh yeah, that's a no-brainer, right? Like, yes, direct them to cover this, and then we'll get it sorted. That way you don't incur any costs, like you said, like who covers that up front? They'll let the insurance fight the insurance and pay them, but the most important part is getting someone healthy and safe and taken care of.
So on that note, I mean, the insurance probably would pay for it. I'm just talking out loud. I want to make sure I understand this right. The insurance probably covers it, but with co-pays and co-insurances, what the presumptive would probably do, if I'm, correct me if I'm wrong, would pay everything. And so the travelers, if they're denying it, is not paying the co-pays and co-insurances. Right. And that's what you would stand to get reimbursed, I would believe, if they would approve it, right? Now, my question is, will they approve it retroactively? If you're pursuing this and trying to get an approval after the fact, are they going to retroactively make you whole? That's my question.
I can't answer that. I just know I paid that out of my own pocket, the co-pays and pathology report and stuff like that.
Because as time goes on, that could become more expensive if you're doing scans or tests or whatnot, that where co-insurances especially become, kind of involved, right? And that's what this whole thing is. The gap would cover any of that. There you go.
Thank you, Chris.
So one more question, Mr. Mayor. So in the meantime, now we know that HR has a task to go back and work with travelers for at least yours and possibly months. Initial diagnosis and treatment, right, where there was a gap between workman's comp. Is that correct?
Correct. That's the goal of this policy, is that covering the gap.
Yeah. In this discussion with better understanding among all the parties.
Right.
Good. Thanks.
How are you doing now, Chris?
I'm good.
Excellent.
Thanks, sir. Thank you all.
I have one more thing.
Yes, sir.
Just one thing I noticed in the ARS, the 23901.9, unless I missed, it doesn't cover breast cancer or cervical cancer in that particular ARS. Is that correct?
How can we
flip back to that?
Can we cover that? We can put it in our policy.
I mean, at this time,
right?
this was probably pushed through, it takes a million years for something to get pushed through a statute, but I don't think I saw that portion of it where it mentions like breast cancer, cervical cancer, all the cancers that female firefighters are seeing.
So my name's Phil Wexler. I'm on the Health and Safety Committee. I could speak to that a little bit.
Thank you, Phil.
The PFFA and the IFF noticed that we're having more and more women in the fire service, and with that comes more and more women-specific cancers. And they're currently in place to work with the legislators on getting more of those specific cancers approved.
Okay.
So the ones that are on there, there's some that are coming. So,
all right.
Yes, sir.
And I think us as local elected officials, that's something we should know of, right? When we talk to our state legislators, like, hey, by the way, why aren't you pushing this, right? We have local firefighters that are females. Right, they should be part of this. So that's kind of for everybody up here. When we do those interactions, like that's our job to talk to them and say, "Hey, who's working on this? Why aren't you jumping on this?" Right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, Councilmember Rodriguez, I can speak to that as well. They are currently working to improve this statute. So as we speak at the state level.
So the slide you showed is an all-inclusive list. That ARS is an inclusive. That's it wasn't just examples. That's an inclusive list of what the cancers are.
And to the point earlier, it does include there's a section above that does include peace officers as well.
Okay.
So it is important to look at when
Is their
we're
piece
making
different?
Policies.
Is theirs a different
Yes.
set of
Yes,
cancers?
sir. Yep.
All right.
Any other questions? Thank you,
Thank
Mr. Workman. Thank you, 44292, and your insight, your commitment. Thank you for a great showing. Any other questions from the dais? No. All right. And so we will have that presentation by Kenny, Assistant City Manager.
February 10th, Mr. Mayor.
February 10th. If y'all are invited to come back, if you're not on duty, or you want to come from Tucson, lunch is on me. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
It's totally on him, so just come. We got you.
So we'll go to discussion of city council salaries, city code 30.01. So actually, we were looking at changing the title of Mayor Pro Tem to Vice Mayor. And while reviewing the policy, every 4 years, we have to review the city council salaries. So the requirement to review is up for review now. So while we're discussing changing the nomenclature, nomenclature? No, that's Army terms. Title from Mayor Pro Tem to Mayor, Vice Mayor. We also have to look at our salaries. In your packet, you have a salaries of other cities that are within our range: Oro Valley, Prescott, Sierra Vista, Apache Junction, Bullhead City, San Luis, and Sahuarita and El Mirage. So I present the discussion now. If there's no objections to the current salaries, we can mark it discussed right there. Mark it discussed.
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What benefits, does Kenny know that?
Oh, that other cities?
I didn't, says benefits for elected officials, out
Isn't
of
that-
curiosity.
that
I'm
like
wondering
retirements?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Flowers, what that's referring to is participation in the elected official retirement plan, commonly called EORP. So we don't and have never participated in the elected officials retirement plan.
why is that? I just didn't even know that was a thing. That
I don't know.
I thought it started at the county level. Oh,
Jill, would you know that?
I do not know.
is it too costly?
It is certainly a cost. I've not looked into it, so I couldn't tell you what the estimated cost would be.
Now
Typically,
I'm
this
just
really
curious,
isn't a
'cause
job, or is it?
I'm not expecting to change anything. I forgot all about this 4-year thing. So now, out of curiosity, can somebody find out what it is?
Yes.
To participate in that.
We can look at what benefits are offered to other councils and share that with the council.
Thank you. But I have no,
Get them in Phoenix.
They
do.
Look it up more.
Yeah, it's more,
Down to 36,000.
all right.
We're gonna talk about the vice mayor?
Oh, Vice Mayor. Oh, yes. Any objections
You had a
for?
definition between like vice and deputy, didn't you, Caroline?
Oh, yeah, we had talked about, the mayor and I making it either deputy mayor or vice mayor. Either one would be a huge improvement, because I don't think anyone would ask me to explain that when I introduce myself, so, but deputy sometimes can mean assistant too, so it just made more sense to go with vice mayor. But honestly, I am just happy if you guys are okay with changing it, and bringing it up to 2026 technology.
That sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me.
I'm not trying to be the voice of dissent. I'm just curious. I mean, it is if that's the way you prefer, I'd probably be inclined to do it. But it does seem that pro tem is the standard across most cities.
I know Tombstone still goes with pro tem, but I usually meet vice mayors when I'm
Do you?
meeting colleagues, yeah.
Okay.
I like
And,
Vice Mayor.
It's easier to say.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, and a lot of people, they hear mayor.
I didn't hear what you said.
He says it's easier to say.
Yeah,
It's
easier to
fewer syllables. Although I do love the nicknames that have come from people misunderstanding it. Mayor Pretend is my favorite.
Oh.
But there's also Mayor Pro Tem, which specific to me is really fitting, and because I am Pro Tem. But no, this is just it's Latin, so a lot of people don't understand it, and it would just make more
So are we
sense.
voting
To,
on it now?
We're discussing.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
way more than I thought. we
All
would.
right.
I say
Mayor,
yes.
whatever. Okay.
Vice Mayor?
Mayor, vice, whatever.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Do we have to vote on that though?
That will come back because that is set forth in ordinance.
Oh, yes.
We will not do the resolution 30-day public comment period because this is not something that requires that length of a
Yes, ma'am.
thing. So it will come back if you have no desire to, well, the salaries even is not, you need to decide that as well, so it would come back probably, if you want to discuss a salary increase, it would have to come back as a discussion item.
I'm not asking to discuss the
I
salary.
didn't get that there was any real major heartburn to do that, but, so we can bring that back as an ordinance next month.
Okay, all right. Everybody good with that?
Yeah, I mean, that's,
Excellent.
I mean, I assume it'd be like just control F-ing every document that you have, right, to change the word from.
I think it's 3 times in the ordinance, so it will be very easy to do.
I'm not trying, I don't know how much work that would be for the city to change all the language to do that.
Maybe just over time as we come across it like we do now.
Yeah.
But it is 4:30. You want to proceed on to these last 3 items? Yes, ma'am.
I was just gonna make my comments on the executive report on Thursday. During my time, I'll just do that, since we've been here for a while.
All right, but we're good with 4:30?
Okay, either way.
Couple more minutes?
I want $1 million salary.
Let's do the El Mirage.
Can we get paid like
I like that it shows, because a lot of people don't understand. Like, I didn't even know I got paid when I first got on. Like, I thought it was like jury duty. Like, you get $25 for parking.
Look at 34,000 pop El Mirage.
But I do. But it's interesting. If you talk to every city in Arizona,
Or 36.
they're different.
Yeah, they
Every
are.
city, obviously,
Yeah.
there's a small portion here, but when we go to like the league, it's like with the question of the day, like, do you guys get paid? Do you guys get insurance? Do you guys get this? Do you guys get that?
Right.
So it's different everywhere, right? But I love when people say, well, we pay your salary. So I always say, thank you for the $750.
I'm trying
right?
to tell you.
And if you want to, it's simply like, well, I pay your salary. And then if you do the math of like how many taxpayers you have, and it comes out to like maybe a quarter a person, I would gladly like, here, I refund it if I'm not doing my job, like, I appreciate it. But it's a good conversation to have. People understand, like, people assume, like, full-time, which is not considered full-time, versus part-time, which is considered what that means. And that's why some cities obviously get paid a lot more, because it's considered full-time, they have an office and all that stuff, so.
Tucson.
I would just say, do the research on the differences, I guess, and what it means. But the other downside is it keeps people that want to run from running if they can't afford it, right? So that's the other downside to when it comes to salaries of council people and mayors is you have some good people that want to run, but they're like, I can't live off $750. There's no way, right? Whereas that's why some cities have changed it to where it's a livable salary. You can actually live off it. It's not great, but that's the difference, right? And that's what people don't understand sometimes is, whereas I would love to run. We know a lot of people that would love to run the good candidates, but if you don't have a job or someone else are sustaining you, you're not going to live off $750 a month or $1,000 if you're the mayor, So just something for everybody to think about. It's different out there for every city and town, and hopefully that does not keep people from running. But I have seen that for sure. So
Yes, sir.
that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, sir.
Good comment.
So we'll go to item number Delta, Council Executive Report. Ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor McCaw. So of course, we're kicking into high budget gear, getting ready, and shared your budget calendar with you. Starting with March 24th is going to be your mid-year budget review, and then you'll wrap up all the way in August with the property tax levy adoption. So that's 9 separate work sessions or council meetings scheduled to review and talk about the budget, in addition to your one-on-one meetings and so forth. So lots of opportunities to discuss the budget coming up. And then I just wanted to recognize the employees who were awarded the Police Department's Critical Response Award last week. The ceremony was very nicely done by Chief Heiser. The staff recognized were Deputy Chief Brad Deaver, Corporal Tony Chavez, Officers Alexis Thompson and Joshua Colon, and then 2 citizens received the Sentinel of Life Medal, who were Samantha Wise and Nicholas Coddington, and just proud of our employees and the tremendous heroic service they provided, and appreciate their service and efforts.
Victoria, why didn't we do that during a council meeting or something?
I believe it was part of a regular in-service day scheduled.
Service is on Wednesday.
Would you like me to answer?
Sure,
Yeah,
Chief.
so absolutely. Good question, Councilmember Kilmurray. I like to recognize the good work in front of our all-hands meeting. All the employees get to see it. It's motivating, and I think the employees like to get that attaboy in front of their peers. So, I apologize. I kind of reversed it. I invite you to our meeting rather than invite them to your meeting. So we can always revisit that. I love the recognition from both sides.
I understand your point.
Absolutely. Thank you.
It's funny though, he said in front of his peers, and then Brad, Deputy Chief Deaver smiled because he's the first fire personnel to receive that award. And it's so fun. Yeah, but at the PD, yeah.
And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor, and our staff are here to answer any additional questions.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions?
We doing sandwiches or pizza?
What are you talking about?
Gonna buy us lunch.
I'm
You told
not
him
doing
fire- you
you
told him
lunch. I
firefighters
said
that.
Chris.
That's no. You said all of us. How many?
I was looking directly at him, not you. I'm gonna get it. Reports on recent trips, meetings, and future meetings.
I do have,
Future
okay.
meeting.
Oh,
Oh,
well.
meeting in DC in March.
Wait, what? Sorry.
Traveling for the city councils.
Oh yeah, some of you are going to.
The NLC?
NLC,
DC. In February, no, March.
It's March
Yeah,
2nd.
like 2 months. Yeah, another 2 months.
Well, I'm going.
Yes, sir.
Are we all going?
I am not going this year.
I'm not.
Unless you can't go again.
Yeah,
Then
I'm,
I'll go.
yeah, I'm going.
I do have so we had the Arts, Humanities, and Cultural Diversity Commission meeting last week, and some discussion was had, and it looks like we're gonna be bringing back the Heritage Festival so long as council approves it in the budget under Parks and Rec. That was Wayne Calhoun, former council member,
Oh,
said,
yes.
yeah.
Mhm.
There's also a couple other moving components to that, but we'll see how it goes. I have we have tourism commission meeting coming up on the 22nd, this month at 1. Planning and zoning commission meeting for us on the 27th at 5, and an Sierra Vista MPO TAC meeting on the 5th of February at 1 p.m.
Oh, okay.
Which you don't have to go to, but just for everybody's benefit.
Yeah, okay.
Did you talk about arts and humanities? Can I say something real quick? NLC has a award. You can submit. Cities are submitting their projects that fall around arts and humanities right now. It's currently open, so if you guys can see arts and humanities people are here right now, think about maybe if there's something in the last year that arts and humanities has done, or just moving forward. Know that's an option. The NLC is, and there's some examples there on the NLC website that says what cities are getting them, what they got them for last year. Anything that fall within the realm, and it's not necessarily to have to be the commission, but just things in our community that fall under the arts and humanities realm that a city is doing. They're currently taking submissions for those awards. So, just so you know.
When you say awards, is it like a medal award, or is it award to do something humanities related?
It's just it's an award for if your city did something arts and humanities related in the last year, you can submit your.
The money that goes to it to.
No, it's just an
further the
NLC
cause?
award. There's no money towards
Recognition?
right now. Yeah, I don't think there's any money towards it for another project. I don't think there is. But.
All right. Next discussion item is future discussions and council requests. Ma'am?
Thank you, Mayor McCaw. Currently tracking 3 things for your next work session. We have the presentation on the golf course, Ms. Downing's presentation on the firefighter cancer presumption policy, and presentation on license plate readers from Chief and Flock. Will be here in person.
Excellent. Y'all are good? We'll see you on Thursday. Thank you.